Through all of the growing up, there was one anchor, and that was, I want to become a professional footballer. That was it. There wasn't a plan B. They'd completely taken all my worth of what I thought I was as a footballer. I just feel like they was trying to make a fool of me in a way. Boys in the gym are going, yeah, he's a fat bastard. No wonder he can't get in the squad because he's fat. Like, inside I was broke. So my escape from all the pain, from all the anger, it was the gym. You know what was so freeing about it was the fact that when I walked on that ship, nobody knew who I was. It was that like fire. It's as though like Luke was back, but in a different path. Business was quite systematic and great. But then obviously the bomb drops. It got messy. It did get messy. It really did. My business closed overnight because of COVID. Yeah. And I had to navigate that. I had this nice luxury apartment. I was literally, what do I do? And at that point, I'd invested all that. I'd invested like 100K in the business. Wow. I had nothing to really show for it. It was 7 or 8 years in business, and I'm like at rock bottom. What the hell? Everybody's quick to take your money. At that point in that time, that's what I needed. I need somebody to really sort of be with me. I'll never forget that he said to me, that's what changed everything. I started actually reconnecting with myself through nature.
Oh, got me almost in tears over here. Your story is so important for people to hear, especially in the coaching industry.
You know what? I'm actually really lonely. Hold on a minute. So these people that I want to be like, that I see externally, are just like me.
It's real.
Yeah.
It's messy. That's the messy truth.
This is what I sort of say now from my own experience, is that when I was in this dark place, I just had to go back to...
Hey, this is Em Hollis, and welcome to the messy truth of transformation, where it's okay to be magical and messy. This isn't your typical personal growth podcast. Around here, we talk about the real stuff, the raw, the honest, the shadow work, the spirals, the breakthroughs, and the beautiful chaos of becoming who you were always meant to be. If you've ever felt alone on your healing and growth journey, or you wondered why it feels hard even when you're doing the work, you're not crazy, and you're definitely not alone. Let's dive into the messy truth of what it actually takes to transform your life.
In today's episode, I'm sitting down with Luke Beastall, a former failed pro footballer turned entrepreneur with a passion for helping people unlock their full potential in life, business, and well-being. Let's dive in. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Messy Truth of Transformation. Hello, Luke.
Hello, Em. It's so great to be here. I love this whole concept of what you're doing with this podcast.
Yeah. We were just talking about you were actually one of the first ones that I connected with.
Oh, really?
To have on the podcast. And there's something about resonance, right? Like resonance with the people that you want to interview. It's like I put a post in a Facebook group and was like looking for, people on the podcast, and got inundated with message requests. And for me, I always go about things like very intuitively. And I heard your message and I was like, yep, this is a fit. So you were one of the first ones that was like, yeah, this is going to be a great conversation. So welcome.
Oh, no, well, honestly, thank you. And I know you did send me a voice note, and I can remember I put a message with a little bit of difference, because obviously I resonated with what you're trying to put out there. And I thought, I'd love to add value. I'd love to share something that could help someone, because we all go through these messy periods, and there's truth to that. I mean, just linking it in with your transformation of the podcast. But no, it resonates. So I was sort of like, all right, I'm going to put my hand up and see if I can sort of feature. So here we are. What was it, like 4 months ago?
Yeah.
It must have been
crazy.
3-4 months.
It was, crazy.
Mad.
Like what? Whoa, where did that go? Yeah. So where I really want to start with this, Luke, is for people who are listening and have no idea who you were, and to really get a frame of reference. I would love to start from the beginning. So what was life like for you the first 10 years of Luke's life?
Okay. Great. I love that. First 10 years of my life, I think, I'm obviously family, very close. So they always had my back. I was loved. I was nurtured to be myself, right? Be playful, be outdoors, no fear. I think that was the biggest thing. So I'd bang my head. I'd run into walls. I'd smash cars. I'd learn myself on like different paces, different sort of strengths that I had. I was quite a strong young boy, basically. And then as soon as I was 4 years old, I guess that's when I started to picture stuff and remember things that all I ever wanted to do was play. I mean, I know it's in America, soccer, but football in England.
Wow.
Left-footed player, Man United fan. So David Beckham era, where it was just like, I want to be like him, and I just suddenly started fantasizing and being obsessed. And from the ages of 5, that's when I started playing amateur, just
Wow.
playing football. Yeah. So it literally was from such a young age, but I've always been I think I was a kid that was loud. I wore my heart on my sleeve, even at a young age. Teachers would say, we know when Luke's upset, we know when he's angry, we know, and I guess I was according to my mum and dad, I mean, obviously I can't remember this. I would be quite an emotional kid that would, or they'd always know if something was up, but I was quite naughty at such a young age. Like I would naughty all day and then just crash out at night. So my energy was just all day and then die.
Wow.
But then when I sort of got to school, I've become a lot better. So I guess it'll make sense to the audience later on in this episode when we talk a little bit about the business and the life. But I've always had a lot of energy. I've always been very out there, but then there has been moments in my life when I've hid away and been isolated. But as a kid, I was football crazy and all I wanted to do was be outdoors.
So 2 questions about that. Were you an only child, or did you have siblings that were were they the opposite, the same? And when you got into school, because I know like my husband, he is, I guess he's 60 now. I mean, he's not 60, he's like 20. So much energy, right? But he had such a hard time in school because you have to sit down and you have to sit and like, so how was that for you in school? Was it okay for you?
Yeah. So no, good question. So siblings, got 2 sisters, so I'm the middle child. So my eldest sister, she's 13 months older than me. So my mum and dad pretty much like bang bang, no sort of messing around. And then my younger sister, she's 2 years younger. So we are quite a close knit family. Like my mum, she had a lot of responsibility with all us as growing up. But as a kid, I was so the school I went to, primary school, it was a Catholic school, and it was very, very friendly. Everyone was like, it was such a wholesome sort of family vibe. But again, I loved football. So our lunch breaks was quite long. There was like an hour and 20 minutes. So I would literally, the dinner ladies would say to my mum, like, Luke needs to slow down eating. All I wanted to do was ram the food down me as quick as I could so I could go out and play football. So that was literally what I did. And I can remember, obviously, what we used to do, our head teacher used to sort of, because it was like a hill down onto the field. Like I would literally be like on the edge of the sort of like paved path, waiting for the head teacher to give the thumbs up to say, yes, you can go on the grass and play football. So the surface is safe to use. And I would literally, all the kids would charge down on the field, would kick a ball in the air and just go crazy. And then in the winter, I was the first person, because they just knew that I couldn't really operate without playing football. I was like, football. To the point, actually, where my literature wasn't great in English because all I do is read football magazines. But so my energy would be burned off. Like over our school trousers, we'd put like tracksuit bottoms over the top. And the head teacher was like, look, if the kids don't get dirty, I'm happy for them to play sort of football all year round. So literally there was like a container in the classroom where you'd just put like tracky bottoms and stuff like that. And I was the one that sort of made that happen because they just knew how much I love football. And it was like, right, if it makes him sort of focus on his schoolwork, then,
exactly,
like, do it. And and I literally used to 12 o'clock till 20 to 2, so about an hour and 10. No, it was an hour and 35. Sorry, the lunch break.
Wow.
So 25 to 2. Yeah, so I'd literally get in at 12, smash it, done by 10 past 12 on the field playing football.
Oh my gosh! So was this obsession? It sounds like it's fair to say.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Did this come from just inside of you? Was your was it a family thing, or was it just this was Luke?
My dad is very passionate in life anyway. So he's got his own business and stuff like that, but he's got energy, like he's a character. So I can only really think that it was more from him. But then again, he wasn't around much when I was growing up because he was working, and my mum was obviously looking after us. It was that sort of, generation where the guys was heavily providing. Yeah. So it's really hard to tell, but I think the biggest thing that I have to really commend my parents for is they let me be me. They didn't trap me. They didn't stop me. Wow. They didn't hold me back. They didn't say, Luke, stop that, or stop it, calm down, be quiet.
Yeah,
it was like, it wasn't any of those sort of parenting. Like I hear parents do this all the time because we've got a young daughter who's 2 years old. Oh, wow. And we want them to be, you want them to be expressive. And I think that's what they allowed me to be. And I think that's what sort of came through. Yeah.
Huge. I mean, yeah, but so many people don't have that kind of parenting. It's more like, yeah, play it small, calm
Yeah,
down, like
yeah.
keep that energy in. So you go through school and you're obsessed with football, soccer for us
Yeah.
Americans. And how does that manifest? What is the next, school years, college years? What does that look like?
So obviously through school, you go to comprehensive school. So from like 12, you go up to big school.
Yeah.
Obviously dropping in a pool of going from, say, maybe a school of like 100, well,
Yeah.
probably a couple of hundred to like 2,000. So you're like 10 times the size of what you've been used to is quite daunting.
Yeah.
It was quite scary. Obviously you're going
Yeah.
with people that are like 16 and you get like, they call it sprogging in UK. So it's like they get you in headlock and sort of like scruffle your hair and stuff. It's all those sort of initiations, like welcome to big
Initiations. Yeah.
welcome
Yeah.
to big school.
Yeah.
So you're dealing with that. You're dealing with people wanting to like have a fight with you. There's all these sort of things, conflict, and I guess really you sort of in your teenage years you got house parties, you find all that.
Totally.
But again, through all of the growing up, there was one anchor, and that was I want to become a professional footballer.
Okay.
So I was at this stage when I went up to like high school, whatever, is that I started to take it even more serious. So I had a personal trainer, so that I was exposed to coaching. I had then multiple coaches like nutritionists started to give you examples of healthy food, in your own time. I was training more. So there was demands of more fitness stuff that I had to do in my own time. So like homework really. So I had not only school homework, it was like I had football homework. And then you was playing against competitive teams like, we was playing against like your Man Uniteds, your Derby Counties. So yeah, I guess I was in that pool of, okay, I'm on my way. It's feeling more real. And I used to take also one day out of school to go and integrate with the men. So it was like nurturing me to become more of an adult, even though I was a teenager. So it was sort of like, so the coaches are sort of like watching us and going, can this guy deal with it? Is he someone that we could see to bring up to this team? And then I had to catch up on a day of school really. So it was like playing catch up, but I was going after my dreams.
Wow. And so the plan was, I'm going to be a pro.
That was it. There wasn't a plan B. I don't, I've heard this a lot actually, and it really relates to me when people sort of say you shouldn't have a plan B. I was a little bit like, I don't know, mate, like in life and sort of things I've done, but actually at that time in my life, I didn't have a plan B. The plan was I'm going to be a professional footballer.
Yeah. And so when did that not happen? When was the big shift into this is the dream and now this is no longer the dream?
It was 19 years of age. So I had a look. I mean, I've said this quite openly on a few other platforms, but for me, I as soon as I signed and started getting paid for football, and it was a full-time thing, and we did have education as well. Like they ensured that we were still having education, like BTEC diplomas in sport and exercise science, and we got a coaching badge. So it wasn't just all football. You did have avenues that you could explore if you weren't to get a pro contract. But for me, I wasn't bothered about any of that stuff. Like I did it, I ticked the box, but I wasn't invested in it. All I was invested in was becoming a professional. So at 19, I sort of had a really tough time with the managers. So again, it is about the people you surround yourself with, right? I mean, it's the environment. I was kind of getting bullied. I was getting rejected a lot. I'd never ever had so much rejection in those 2 years in my entire 19 years on the planet.
And rejection from the people you're playing with, or?
Yeah, and managers, just everything. I got so much. It was like they completely taken all my worth of what I thought I was as a footballer. So when I was at school, everyone was like, Luke, remember me when you're famous. Like they idolized me. Like I was Mr. Popular. It was just, I had everything going for me. And obviously that gave me momentum. It gave me confidence, right? It sort of reassured me that, okay, I wasn't cocky. I was just confident. I wasn't arrogant. I just had that sort of, I'm going to do this. And yeah, it's just like, if I could tell those people what it was actually like, which I do share moments, they'd be like, no way has that happened to you. I don't think they'd believe it. But I then at that point, through all this rejection, that's what started for me to hide, right? So it started making me go in my shell. It's like a snail hiding inside a shell. And I didn't talk to anyone. I was getting like called names. I was getting body shamed. because I started getting insecure in my own body image through just body fat testing that we were having in football. You had to be a certain percent. If you weren't in that percentage, you wouldn't play. So there was a lot of pressure. There was a lot of restriction. And I can remember, having to take my top off, and I was doing my body. I don't know. I just feel like there was trying to make a fool of me in a way. Got me to take my top off in front of everyone in the gym and then do my body fat. And then he was like, the guy who was doing it was like, oh, you're holding a lot of fat on your back. Obviously, I can't see it. So then all the boys in the gym are going, yeah, he's a fat bastard, and all this. Look at him. No wonder he can't get in the squad because he's fat. And, even though they're saying that at like 17, 18, it really hurts. And obviously, because I'm emotional, as I said, as a kid, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I laughed it off, trying to be the hard guy. But inside I was broke. I was just like, oh my days, I've never really experienced this amount of, people call it banter, but I wouldn't see it as banter.
Yeah.
I couldn't take it as banter.
This was a professional team.
Yeah, professional team. Oh, it's ruthless. If you ever have any athletes on here, it's pretty. Some of the things that, I'm telling you now, they were calling my family. I'd squared up to a lad. He was saying horrible stuff about my mum. It was just, for no reason at all. There was nothing that I did. Honestly, I got absolutely hammered. And the thing is, the manager, they say he didn't really care. So sort of he would always say, and I never talked to him now because obviously I hate his guts, but it was he would say, oh, the door's always open if you want to chat. So obviously here's me going, right, I need to chat about this. I need to talk about what's actually going on. Yeah. And he just didn't care. He was just like, oh, Luke, I'll sort it. But he had no, if I'm being honest, he had no balls about him to manage his players. So obviously that was just carrying on, and they weren't. And the reality is because I weren't playing, and I was sort of, if you want to call it, bottom of the pile. There was no lads in the change room, like the captain or anything like that at the time, going, "Hey, listen, boys, pack it in now."
Yeah, right.
I'm hearing what you're saying about Luke and stuff like that. This is it. The line's done now. I don't want to hear it. None of that. It was just keep it going, and it was honestly, I guess that's where I knew my career was sort of, I was just getting by, really. I couldn't wait to get out.
I have to ask you this, and this may sound so stupid, but it just popped in my mind.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched the show Ted Lasso?
I've heard of it, but I haven't watched it.
Really?
Yeah, no, I've heard of it. Okay.
It's all about this American guy that goes and coaches soccer, football.
I've heard of him, though. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's probably my top 5 favorite shows. I absolutely love it. However, I was asking you that because the first part of the first season, it shows kids on the team that happening.
Okay.
And nobody really doing anything. And then Ted comes in as the coach, and he's very positive and very that's what they joke about. He's too happy and he's too positive.
Right.
And they start putting a stop to all of that's happening. So I ask you that to just even see if that's realistic. If and then they come together as this perfect, awesome team that everybody loves everybody.
Yeah. Okay, I get you.
Yeah. Is that really the case?
Well, it is. Obviously, I think whenever it's a sort of documentary, I'll have to watch that, by the way. I think I've heard of it, but yeah, the manager. Obviously, it's managing players. It's obviously now with what I do and obviously what you do, you're managing people, aren't you? Managing states and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They knew deep down that it wasn't just me. It was a couple of other lads as well. I wasn't just the only person. There was a few. It was flying around. Obviously the guys that sort of, because when you're in the squad, you have what we call first years and second years. So the first years would normally get a bit of if you went let's say you went to go and do some studying, the second years would tie all your shoes up and hang them like a washing line and put deep heat in your boxer shorts so your balls would be on fire.
Oh my gosh.
Just did all stuff like that, put shower gel in your shoes and
Lord.
And to be honest, I found that funny. I wasn't bothered about that. I actually did laugh it off, but there were things where, say, just giving you an example, one of the lads at training, he was getting nutmegs a lot. And they were just saying, oh, what time you open till and all this, and then that banter. But then the guy got really sort of, he was getting frustrated.
Yeah.
So then when he went in the shower, the guy was just again, he took it too far. He was like, all right, I'm just gonna take a poo in his lunchbox.
Oh my Lord.
So he went to the toilet and pooed in his lunchbox.
Literally.
Yeah.
Wow.
So literally when he opened up and I think he had like half a bit of pasta dish left, half its side were full of poo. Yeah, it was just, and he could smell it. Like obviously when he had a shower, he was like, God, it smells like, shit in here. What's going on? And then obviously all the lads are laughing their head off.
Wow.
And and for me, I'll be honest, like I was that sort of, not, I won't say like traumatized, but I guess I didn't want to say anything just so I got the heat off me. So it was simply just, I can remember seeing it and going, what is this? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, what does that do to somebody? And it's so funny because I was going to say, I bet you were a middle child, the middle child syndrome, they say, like so in tune with people's emotions and wearing their heart on their sleeves. My son's the same way. And so what does that do to somebody that's so sensitive and emotional? And obviously, what did that lead to? Because that obviously led to something pretty big happening in your life.
Oh, definitely. I mean, obviously, I went through a massive shift. I guess the first thing I had to do was I had to talk to somebody that didn't know me. Okay, that was the biggest thing. Didn't know anything about me. So we had a sports therapist come in from a university to sort of have experience with the football club. And I can remember him coming in, and he seemed an all right guy. And none of the lads, as men, right, don't really open up. Nobody really took it. And I was the only guy that actually went and spoke to him, because I was like, right, I can actually talk to somebody who may understand me or just listen to me, because the manager wouldn't listen to me. He didn't give a crap about me because I already tried that, and he just sort of like rolled his eyes and brushed it off.
Yeah.
I mean, it got that bad, I'll tell you in a second, but I opened up, I just sort of started crying and just sharing it out, and he just sat and listened. That was it. He just listened. And I think that's what I really needed. I didn't need anyone to challenge me. Obviously, coaching, you can challenge, you can be curious, you can ask great questions. I think I just needed somebody to sort of, I'm actually looking at another human and I'm just venting out, rather than my dad, because obviously I know he's going to support me. I know he's got my back.
Yeah.
So it was just nice to, so that sort of like opened the can of worms for the next step. And then, obviously from there, the next step for me was, I always knew that I had a hard working mentality. I always knew, always did the extra mile, always was committed. I am the person, and I say this right today as well in the present moment, that I don't know many people like me that commits as I do. Wow. And I can call that out on most people.
Yeah.
Like, I am the most committed person. I'm a rare breed. I will say that, because I reckon I scare people away in my area, because I'm that committed. I'm on time. I'm early. But also if I say I'm going to do something, I do it.
Yeah.
Like all in.
Yeah.
I just hate letting people down. So anyway, from this, I was sort of working with my dad. I was playing football overseas. So I went to Spain. I lived in Spain a little bit, been to Germany. So I was getting the culture. I was used to living away from home since I was 16. So it wasn't that I needed to be a home bird or, so from there, I was in the gym. So my escape from all the pain, from all the sort of anger, it was the gym. Footballers go gambling, they do drugs, they do alcohol, they just hit the porn, whatever. There's all those little addictions. Again, I was obsessed, but I became obsessed with the gym rather than football. I started to fall out of love with that. And my next obsession, because I think you have quite an addictive personality when you're so used to something. So that's where I guess I started rebuilding my identity. That's where I then started to actually start seeing myself in the mirror and see the progress of my muscles growing and stuff, and being like, oh, okay. This is good. And then I obviously watched others in the gym. I watched these guys. I was learning. I got quite obsessed with studying like nutrition, how to get lean. All I wanted was like a Cristiano Ronaldo 6-pack. I mean, can't say I did it the right way, but all this led anyway to becoming a personal trainer. So my dad said to me, Luke, I've just been on a cruise ship and we saw a fitness trainer. We couldn't believe it, because obviously on cruise ships, you'd think people just eat their body weight in food, right?
Yeah.
Well, he said, no, there's a gym on there. And there were these like group of people on the beach playing volleyball. They were having beers, cocktails. They were having so much fun. And we looked at you and thought of you, because obviously, we've got your best interest. I went, I think Luke would love this. Get out of the country, travel the world, and do something he's passionate about, which is fitness. So he came home, that was it. And literally I worked with my dad engineering, funded my PT course, did it in person, 6 weeks I was qualified. And irony of this was the person that tutored me and did the exam, he'd been on cruise ships for 4 years. as a trainer. So it was like
Wow.
bang, like sort of like everything happens for a reason, like slotting into
Totally.
place. He sold it. He didn't have to sell it to me. I was already like, where do I go? Like,
Yeah.
so I went to an interview, did all that, went down to London. I was in an academy for 3 weeks to learn like Pilates, yoga, all the classes. But we did, but on the cruise ships, you were designed and on there in the spa. So you was in a 5-star spa and you were selling supplements, right? So I had to learn to sell myself, which coming from being in a shell and losing all my confidence, I thought, this has got to be good. This has got to get me out of my comfort zone. So within 3 weeks in the academy, I packed my suitcases, and my 9-month journey in living in a small, tight cabin out to Vancouver started, and it was great.
Wow. No. So what was it like letting go of the football? Like you just said, I'm done, and
yeah, I gave myself one last chance. This was May 2015. I went out to Scotland. I said to my dad, I went, look, mate, if nothing comes from this experience, I'm just gonna hang my boots up and retire. Just call it quits. What I really needed at that time and was commitment. I needed to commit to something. So with it being 9 months on a cruise ship, that bearing in mind I'd never stepped foot on one in my life, I just thought it was a boat. But then when I got there and looked up at I was honestly, to try and remember my feelings back then was so hard because I was just so overwhelmed. And I can remember going on there clean shaven, 21, 22 years old, and joined in Vancouver. And then and bearing in mind at this stage, I'd never done a personal training session with anyone. I'd never taught a class. I just literally was brand new qualified. And these people, like Americans, Australians, all were spending thousands to be on that cruise, and they was paying the cruise ship for me to deliver them a service.
Yeah.
And I was just like so scared. But do you know what was so freeing about it? Was the fact that when I walked on that ship, nobody knew who I was.
Yeah.
They didn't know anything about my background. They met me in the moment where I was. They didn't go, Luke, how's your football going?
Yeah.
So it was like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders, and that was the start of my personal reinvention and rebuilding my identity.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, to go from knowing since 4 years old you were meant to do something, and then transitioning into something brand new. What was that 9 months like?
Oh, it was brutal. Like it was. I wanted to come home for the first 6 months every day for 6 months. I was calling. So we had to pay for Wi-Fi on the ship. It wasn't free. So we all got a bit of like crew discount. But you know, the thing is, right, this was so good about it is if you would scroll through like Facebook feed or an Instagram, it would zap so much of your megabytes. So I wouldn't use social media. Yeah. I would just use Facebook audio to call home because that wouldn't take as much. You was paying for megabytes. So nobody on the ship really actually scrolled, like doom scrolled. It was just much like, right, I'll just pay to talk to my family or partner at home, whatever. So I just kept saying, I want to come home, I want to come home, I want to come home. Now, when I got to Australia, because we repositioned through Alaska season to Australia, I got this opportunity on the table to go back to playing football. And it was at a semi-professional club in New Zealand. So I was like, no way, I'm in New Zealand. I'm going New Zealand, Australia. I could have got off in Auckland. They said, Luke, we've got your car, we've got your house, we've got your job. Like, it's literally, I would have no problems. Here you go. Literally, they was that keen to sign me on. They was like, Luke, we've written up an article, everything. I showed my dad. He was like, Luke, don't do it. He says, you've committed to this contract. You said you're going to stick it through. I wouldn't recommend doing it. You've had so much, because obviously he's been through every step of the way with football.
Sure.
And I turned it down. It was like a bit of I felt like a temptation, you know. It was like, and I was so tempted because at that stage I was really not enjoying the cruise ship life. I felt so trapped, and I wasn't making much money. I was poor at sales. I was learning. I was scared. It was just a lot for me to digest. But I turned it down and I carried on, but it was the best decision I actually made.
Oh my Lord. That is, wow.
Yeah.
Holy moly. I mean, talk about like something from the past, like trickling in, like, do you really want to go be this new person? Or
It was a low hanging fruit.
Go back? Yeah, for sure.
It was dangling there. It was like a hook ready to pull me out, like a fish in the pond sort of thing. It was like, and then that happened, and then literally I can remember the trainer because you worked in a pair, you see, you was a team, so you sort of like got commission, right? So you got paid. It was tax-free money, so it was nice to save up money. The guy that come on was South African, and he was like this bulldozer. He came in and he operated from such an ownership mentality, which I'd been so victim mentality. Why me? Why me? You know? And he woke me up. It's like he woke me up again. He was like, bang, 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 bang. Everything was in order. He was selling it. Bang, bang, bang. He was smashing it. Thousands and thousands of dollars of sold supplements. It was just, I was mesmerized. I couldn't believe it. But what that did is, rather than me going, oh, I'm going to compare myself to this guy, and like, why is it him?
Sure.
It woke me up, and it got this fire in me to be like, I want to be like you. You know what I mean? You know, and I can remember saying to him, do you know, if we ever go on ships again and we meet again, or you're on a different ship, I said, I want to beat you. You know, it was just that sort, and I did beat him, by the way.
Of course you did, right?
I did. I had to. Yeah, and it was so good as well. I proper gave him some good banter for that. But it was that like fire. It's as though like Luke was back, but in a different like path. You know?
Yeah, it gave you something to look forward to. I always talk about mirror neurons in our brain, and how much we don't realize those mirror neurons can help us when we have an example of somebody that we want to strive to be more like. And having a vision of what you are working towards is so powerful. So you literally had someone standing in front of you of like, this is the potential.
Yeah, he guided me, right? So he was my guide in my hero's journey. I was lacking. I was, you know, but also at the time I was really studying. So like I'd go to the crew bar, you know, there's loads of parties. It was brilliant. I had so much fun, you know. I did so many amazing adventures, met so many amazing guests that I still stay in touch with today that would happily host me if I ever went out to. I mean, I lived in New York actually for 3 months as well.
Oh, wow.
So I was in like Manhattan, but it was just like I did so much, but it's as though like I just needed that guide at that time. He came in at such a good time, and then that actually set me up for the last 3 months of my contract, and then I just started becoming really great at sales. And it's as though like you know, you'll find it in coaching, and I kind of do the same, where you go, I know you've got potential.
Totally.
You're holding yourself back.
Yeah.
But there's only you that's getting in the way of you, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I was doing. It was me getting in the way of myself. And then he just sort of like gave me that, I guess, opportunity to go, Luke, you've got this, man, like go for it. And but he did it in a way that wasn't soft. It was hard. Like, you know, it was a South African, you know, like, listen, you do this, I do that, watch me. Watch me, watch my seminars, watch what I do, watch how I do it. And that's what I did. And he did. I was a little bit like I was like a little bit like a dog on the lead sort of thing.
Yeah.
Tried, you know, I was like a puppy, you know, and that was, it was taking me on a walk sort of thing and disciplining me. But I even tell him to this day, I was forever grateful, because when I went on to my next couple of contracts, I was flying. I was like in the top 10 fitness trainers, sales. I was even in talks. We're going to head office in Miami and taking a role there. But then I realized that it was a bit of a short span for me. I realized that actually, you know, I started getting into that mindset at 25 years old, like, oh, you know, maybe I want to actually do my own business now. I'd done everything that I wanted to do. So that's when I returned home back in 2018 and I set up my own business in fitness at a gym. And then that was sort of the next journey, really.
Yeah. So, and maybe this will take us to the next phase, or maybe this is something, I know you've talked about it and you shared about it, and maybe this has been sort of a lifelong thing, but you talk about your struggle with body dysmorphia. And I don't think a lot of people understand what that is. So I would love for you to share what it is, how it manifested for you, and how it sort of guided your journey into who you are and what you're doing now.
Yeah. So it's interesting, really, because I didn't know the term at a young age. Right. I didn't know body dysmorphia. I wasn't aware of it. But from the signs of the way I used to sort of stand, the way I'd hide in the corner and face the wall and not actually face the team. And I wasn't fat, right? I really wasn't. I was a chubby kid though. Like I can remember seeing photos of myself and, you know, I'd tear myself apart. I wouldn't necessarily say I was like in a really bad way, but what I would do is, so when we had the body fat test and I got told I was fat and all that, I would always go home at the weekend to spend time with my family because all I wanted to do was go home, you know. So I'd take the train home, but before I went home on the train, I'd go into the local stores and I'd buy loads of sweets and chocolate and I'd just fill my face, like scoff completely. I wouldn't say I would like binge eat. I'd just call it an overeating episode. And then I'd go home. I was insured on my mum's car. And I did this probably once every 3 weeks at this sort of intensity of like how much I'd eat. And then I'd go to the local store. And again, I'd just sit in the car and eat loads of like eclairs, chocolate, muffins, cookies. And again, I'd fill myself up that much with food.
Yeah.
And then feel really bad for it.
Yeah.
Christmas, I'd do it as well. And I can remember always like my family saying, gosh, Luke, are you hungry? Are you eating a lot? And I would eat loads. Like I'd take Christmas as the opportunity to be like, wow, it's Christmas. I'm going to take a bit of time off. And I just ate all day. Chocolates. I'd have that much sort of sugar in me. I could feel the achiness in my blood of like my ankles. And then, yeah, just sort of, I wouldn't like, stick my fingers down the throat and be sick or anything. But I'd just look at myself in the mirror and, like jiggle my belly and look at it and go, oh, you look at you, you're fat, man. No wonder people are calling you. I would have those voices. I call myself names.
Wow.
And my mum and dad, like when I've done public talks and stuff and they've listened to it, they weren't aware of it. I didn't tell them about it. I told them that I weren't happy with my image, but it really got me in a bad place. And I can remember sort of saying to a PT, I guess I was going from a place of desperation, which made it worse because I was sort of like saying to the trainer, like, look, I want to look like this, which was like Cristiano Ronaldo. I want to be 6-pack abs. And they tried to work with it, but I didn't listen. I was sort of like doing more work. I was overtraining. I was lacking. I did no carbs. I did low calories, 3 times a day training, did all the things that, are not really smart to do. So for anyone that is like maybe struggling with it, it's like, you just don't see the person that you see in the mirror. Like, so like the person that's in the mirror, that reflection in the mirror is massive. I don't know. It's like I looked at like myself having man boobs, love handles. I didn't have any of it.
Wow.
And I didn't want my photo taken either. I just didn't want any beach photos or anything like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so when did that start transitioning for you and how did it?
So I took on when I come home to personal training, I just turned 25 and I hired a coach and I said to the coach, I want to do a photo shoot.
Wow.
But I want to do it such a way that like, I just don't want to recognize myself. So I want it to like blow my mind basically. Yeah. Oh no, I did that for my 25th birthday. Sorry. So, and obviously with me trying to grow my business, what I did is I documented the journey. So I was like on stories on Instagram, talking about like, hey, this is what I'm doing today. I mean, I'll be honest, right? It was restrictive. It's not sustainable, but I just wanted to see if I could do it, right? I wanted to see if I needed some discipline. And so I did it. I got absolutely shredded. I got lean I was in best shape of my life. I got featured in a fitness magazine. Everything was like great. But guess what? Because I didn't rebuild those habits and behaviors, as soon as that goal had ended, I was lost again. So I went skiing, I binged, I was eating loads of food. I actually made myself sick from how much food I ate. I was drinking lots of alcohol. I literally went on like about 4 weeks of just no restriction and just completely, I don't even know how many calories but it would have been loads. And then I can remember just getting into the new year going, right, I better sort my shit out basically. And it took me actually, I say this quite openly to people in sort of I still do fitness now, but it took me probably about 3 years of when I came to like probably 2021 was sort of, so 2018 for 2021 was sort of like, even though I was looking great in shape and everyone looked up to me as a trainer, I was still struggling with my body image.
Wow. So about this time period is the same time period that you decided to transition into opening your own business, correct?
So I actually opened my business. I got the name, got it trademarked actually in 2015, but I sort of parked it because I went on cruise ships and obviously I was under another company's name sort of thing. So so officially, I'd say officially like opened the business in terms of like taking on clients was 2018.
And I want to dive deep into that because as we know, entrepreneurship is a whole other messy journey.
It's very, very messy.
Yeah. So I would love to hear, what was it like? Was it the same thing as you embarked on opening up your own business? Did it feel the same way as when you first got on the cruise ship? That sort of like, holy shit, what have I got myself into? What am I doing? Yeah. Or were you like, this is what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to do. And this is what we're doing.
So, I was super confident, right? So I went into that gym and I can remember saying to the manager at the time, this is going to be my gym. right? So I'd come back with this American, Australian sort of accent, because I'd been traveling, and I can remember the gym were brand new. It was brand new opening, so it was nice to be in a sort of brand new environment. 500 members. There was me and this other guy, and within 9 months, I got like 60 hours in the diary. I smashed it. Like, like people thought it was my gym. So I'd hit what I wanted. I started a clothing brand. Everyone was wearing the clothing that I got on. So everyone had that sense of belonging. I built a fantastic community. I started putting people through photo shoots because I've been through one myself. I then actually started building a team. So I had a team of 5 coaches working with me. So I built a whole team. I had an admin, I had a PA. I was flying. I had a mentor, I had a performance coach, I had a VA, I had a graphic designer. This is where I started heavily investing into my business. The way I did is I franchised it. So what I did is I coached these guys from an employed role to a self-employed role. So a butcher, chartered accountant, marketing assistant. They believed in me that I could help them build the business. And I did. So I sort of gave them like, right, okay, well, you can come under the umbrella of Muscle Coach UK and I will guide you to grow your business because I've got experience in it, and it worked. And we started running conferences, we started running boot camps and wellness retreats and stuff like that. And it was all going great, right?
Yeah.
So on the outside, it was like more. I was doing business meetings, quarterly meetings. I was doing a monthly review with them. The admin was doing all the invoicing. The business was quite systematic and great. But then obviously the bomb drops, and I have 2 of the coaches go behind my back and they join forces. So they sort of like set up their own business behind my back. Cracks start to appear. Then there was an affair a love affair in the sort of community that caused an eruption. So there was a lot of cheating going on. There was a lot of, you know what I mean? It's like when you do fitness or you transform yourself, there's a bit of insecurity from, say, a partner, and it just caused conflict. And then obviously they were just like, oh, they don't like me, so I'll go off with somebody else. And they're just cheating on each other. And it got messy. It did get messy. It really did.
Yeah.
So then I decided, I can remember talking to Abby, my fiance.
Yeah.
Because obviously she's actually part of the business as well. I sort of helped her becoming from a nursery manager to a coach.
Wow.
Yeah, we didn't work together. We always had our separate businesses, but we're obviously part of the same brand.
Yeah.
We just decided to leave the gym. And this was again, part of me and myself, and obviously Abby as well. We sort of got fed up with the gym because it got very cliquey and corporate-y and salesy. Yeah. Oh, we'll go online and start again because, that's 2022. I mean, in 2020, just to sort of tangent a little bit.
Yeah.
My business closed overnight because of COVID.
Yeah.
So I had like 60 hours in the diary, like 5-figure month, and it went dead.
Wow.
And I had to navigate that. I had this nice luxury apartment on a mortgage. I was literally, what do I do? Right. I don't know how. I mean, even thinking back now, I don't know how I actually.
Yeah. How did you do it?
How did I survive? I had to have a very raw, honest conversation with my clients. And do you know what? Because they obviously trusted what I did, they asked me what would be best for me, right? So that was just the best thing. Like, Luke, what would help you? So I froze their sort of, say, training sessions to then put them like an online sort of setup. So they kept, really, I broke even with my bills each month. So that got me through the first 12 weeks. And then I think you could start seeing one other person. So luckily where I lived, there was a running track. There was loads of like parks nearby. So I was attaching bands to poles. It was, I was taking adjustable dumbbells outside. It was crazy, but I got through it. I started building up the income again. And obviously I was earning money from different revenue streams, but yeah, I just did that. But then I guess for me, when I left the gym floor, I started going into like, the corporate wellness space. I tried going down that route. I went into some business consulting via obviously the experience that I had with the coaches, helping them. So I started working with some businesses on just consulting them, not the business. So I wasn't like a mentor, like as in I'm going to scale your business to 6-7 figures. I was more just like, I'll coach you so that you're in a great place in order for that to grow.
Yeah.
And I dabble with that. But if I'm being really honest at this time, my business was in a bad place, right? I guess I was trying everything and anything. And I was trying to build this big web of revenue streams. And actually, I just wasn't in a good place. I lost my identity at this stage because I was like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? Where do I go?
Wow.
And yeah, and at that point, I'd invested all that. I'd invested like 100K in the business.
Wow.
I had nothing to really show for it.
Yeah.
I was back on my own again. All the coaches
Yeah.
sort of left and went their separate ways.
Wow.
And I looked at it and went, wow, here I am in business for
Wow.
7 or 8 years in business.
Yeah.
And I'm like at rock bottom. What the hell,
Wow. I mean, talk about a dark night of the soul.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And so, I mean, where do you go from there? And also, how is this? Because, I just did an interview yesterday with a woman, and similar story, right? Of course. And I asked her what I'm going to ask you, which is like, I know personally the stress that all of this can have on marriages.
Yeah.
Because you're losing your identity, and so the partner's like, wait a minute, what's happening? So how did this affect other areas of your life going through that?
Yeah, I mean, so Abby, so my fiance, she sort of knew, because obviously she's got in the coaching world. She knew how I worked. She knew my personality. Obviously, she got that. She understood it. Obviously, I was different, right? I was a bit sharper. I was a bit angry.
Yeah.
I had sleepless nights. There was all those things that sort of came of it. But do you know what? We had the high life, right? So we used to go to London all the time. We'd go to Dubai. We'd go to Santorini. It's where we got engaged, and we did all the stuff, not worrying about money.
Yeah.
So we had to talk about money a lot more, and I was very bad with money. I was talented at spending. So everything, we just had to communicate a lot more. So, but what we did is rather than, so it's like what Abby did was she sort of grounded me, because she went, yeah, but we don't have to do those things in order to be happy. It was like, why don't we just go and grab a coffee and just go on a walk? So we still spent time with each other, but in a different way.
So phase 2 or 3 or 5 of Luke's life, after this dark night, what happened? Where did you go next?
So obviously, I want to make this sort of clear to the audience, because obviously for me, this is the experience I've had with investing in myself. Everybody's quick to take your money. But the one thing that they've lacked, the people that I've met, is that they've met me where I'm at. They've focused too much into what I want in the future, because obviously they ask you, what do you want? Right? Which I tell them what I want, because I know what I want.
Yeah.
But they focus too much on that.
Yeah.
They're not focused on where I'm at right now. They're not understanding where I'm at right now. So what sort of happened is, this is my own reflection and evaluation of it all.
Sure.
There became a massive disconnect. Because they was focusing on me. Say if I said I wanted, which I did, I said, do you know what I want 6 figures.
Sure.
Profit.
Sure.
6 figures profit running business.
Yeah.
So they'd focus on that. But that's the business, which I get, but I am the business.
That's right.
So they forgot about me.
Yeah.
Which at that point in that time, that's what I needed. I need somebody to really sort of be with me and help me sort of rebuild this identity that I'd sort of lost from being a bit scattered, chaos all over the place. So I had a psychology coach, spent thousands on him. But do you know what? There was one thing that I'll never forget that he said to me that I will thank him for, and it's probably actually now in hindsight has been like worthy investment, is he said to me, he says, Luke, you're like a Ferrari with no tread on the tires. That's what he said to me. So he said, take a deep breath, slow down. And, from that time, I thought, I looked at my life and I looked at everything I was doing. And I was that guy that filled every single hour in my calendar, because I felt, well, if I don't fill it, I'm not productive. But I was more in the busy phase rather than productive phase, right? So obviously we talk about space, slowing down. So that's when I decided, right, well, what can I do to create space? And that's where I got into ultramarathon running. So I got into trails, mountains, whatever. And then I started with noise. So I listened to podcasts while I was running. Again, we love multitasking, we love noise. So I decided to then go into the silence world of, right, I'm going to run in the Peak District, in the countryside, with no earphones. So I was actually out there spending 4, 5, 6, 7 hours just running with my pack on, whatever. That's what changed everything. I started actually reconnecting with myself through nature, weirdly. So I started finding like what I'm great at. You have all these sort of in your head spinning around, all these thoughts. But do you know what was interesting? Nothing was really negative when I was out there. So when I think about it, it's like if I was sat behind my desk, like where I'm at right now in the office, I would be sat here going, oh, I can't do this.
Totally.
I'm like, how am I going to get out of this mess? What am I going to do? Oh, do you know, I'll get my finance spreadsheet and I'll literally cancel every subscription. You get into that such resisting negative mindset. Go and run in the nature. You're like, oh, I've got this. I'm in flow. Wow, I'm like, I'm feeling good. And so I was like, I've got to do this. So then obviously I need a challenge because, you're running and then you sort of think, oh, I'm hungry for a challenge. So I started doing like races. It wasn't a race like in terms of me competing against anyone else. It was just me in the mountains on the elevation, seeing views, and that was it. And then I sort of come across that quote where like everybody wants the view, not the climb. So then that sort of related with through the process side rather than outcome focused. So then what I realized is let's just go back. So when business was great, what was going on? Well, I was authentic. I was authentic. I was being me. I was expressive. Going back to when I was a kid, when I was this footballer that everybody's sort of like, oh my God, I was just free, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I started with. And I thought, right, Luke, where can you make money? Because obviously at this point I need to start earning money because I was in a bit of a place. Right, go back to training, go back to coaching people, fitness, do it. Did it in person, got to a local gym in our village. They was opening up again. It all happened at a good time. It's as though like it was a calling in a way. Did there, going really well. Consulting is picked up as a result of that. What started to happen is as soon as I've actually been my true self and just focused on everything, started to like again. The podcast, I do that. I've got a run club that I've called Run Free Collective because it's like about feeling free. We've got like, the community, we've got like 100 runners on one of our events. We've got a lot of PR work. It's just like everything's just gone wild, but in such a great way. And this is free. Like, this is a free community thing. The podcast has gone wild. It's gone crazy, like bookings for like 6-7 months. But this is what I sort of say now from my own experience is that when I was in this dark place, I just had to go back to me. But the only way I did that was silence and space and slowing down, obviously slowing down.
Oh, you got me almost in tears over here because I know that journey. I know that silence. I actually did a 10-day Vipassana retreat where you're in complete. So and nature for me too, same thing. Like getting back to nature for me was so transformative. And I think number one, I would love to talk about how now you sort of reinvented the coaching aspect where it isn't just focused on physical transformation. It's holistic now. And also like I think it's so important to hear from leaders that are in the hustle culture, right? Like making the money, hustle, like keep the schedule busy. And because I was there too years and years ago, like if you have a gap in your day, like you don't want your business bad enough, that sort of like hustle to, oh my gosh. And this is what's happened for me in the last year is like back to the authenticity, back to why I originally started coaching and helping women and working with women and getting back to just that and having it feel so different when things actually start taking off.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. I mean, it's great that you did that 10-day retreat, not talking. I mean, I know Abby would laugh her head off if I ever did anything like that, just because she's like, I don't think you can't talk for 10 days. But, but that would be a challenge in itself. Yeah. What did you take away from that? What was your biggest sort of takeaway?
Oh my gosh. So many things. You're forced to sit with yourself for 10 days. You have no distractions. You have zero distractions. So the things that you release emotionally, things that you had no idea were even there under the surface. And a lot of it isn't even stories or anything in the mind. It's a lot of in the body, a lot of releasing emotions, a lot of learning how to be with yourself. Like truly, like none of us are really actually with ourselves because we have so many distractions.
I know.
So the power to sit with yourself for 10 days in moments that your body hurts because you're meditating. So you're sitting down for a lot of hours throughout the day and to not have anything to take away the discomfort I mean, I had done a lot of retreats and a lot of workshops and a lot of coaching before that. That was it. It's like meditation boot camp. Most people won't make it through that. It is the hardest thing you can imagine. However, as you know, on the other side of that is like, holy moly, the strength, like the core strength that
Yeah.
you gain from yourself to know that you can make it through those tough things was wow.
Yeah, no, that's impressive. Fair play to you, because that's
Yeah.
that is some serious work. But no,
Yeah.
I think you have to. I think just what you said there about people spending time with themselves. I think people get a bit sort of on edge, don't they? That's why they doom scroll. You know, they can't sort of sit there with themselves in silence and just take a minute. You know,
Yeah.
even if
Take
it's a
a
minute,
minute.
you know, it doesn't have to be like 10 days.
Yeah.
But you know, obviously you built up to that. But
Yeah.
no, I think look, I say this openly now, with sort of what I'm doing. Obviously, I've got experience in business. I've had mentors. I've had loads of coaches.
Yeah.
And I say this quite a lot. I don't need a coach right now. Even though I've been a coach, I'm finding my way, and I think I just need to stay
Yeah.
on this path. And this is what I sort of say to people: like, coaching is not for everybody. At certain moments, it is. Obviously, I'm a coach, and I've had coach. Obviously, I used to say I'm a coach who has a coach. You know.
Yeah.
But now I'm at that point where I'm in a good place, and I've just got to keep finding my way. I don't want more noise coming in and a bit more diversions, or anyone sort of like saying, yeah, but have you considered this? Because obviously we're expansive as
Yeah.
coaches.
Totally.
We listen and we try and expand all the time. But
Yeah.
I'm not sort of that at the minute would probably send me crazy again. You know, it would divert me. So
Yeah.
I've now built sort of a business scheme, like revenue stream, if you want to call it, that's like all in different pockets, but it's all playful, right?
Wow.
It's quite
Wow.
creative.
Oh, I love that.
And I'm in a good place because obviously I've got a daughter. You know, we've actually got another baby on the way next year.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah. So
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah. So life is life, right? So we're going through the
Yeah.
family life, and I want to be present. You know, I want to be there. I want, you know, like my life as a dad, I'm so present with my daughter. You know, I go swimming with her every week. I do bedtimes. I do, you know, we have a family day at least once a week, 1.5 days a week. So the beauty of obviously the job, I don't even call it a job because I love it, is I have that freedom, right? So I get to have that freedom of choice. Go, I want to create this, I want to create that. But as soon as I stripped away that pressure of having to work hard, because I was like, work hard, or fill your diary up, like we say in the hustle mentality.
Totally.
Yeah, I've leveraged in other areas, and the money's just sort of flooded in through me being me.
Yeah. So what I would love to hear you speak on before we sort of bring this to a close. It sounds like a common theme in your life where it's like the external validation, like a search of that external validation to feel good, and having to learn. And obviously in a culture that is social media crazy and always seeking that external validation, how did you navigate turning that into more of an internal validation for yourself and not seeking that outwardly so much?
I think it was just having conversations
Mm.
with people. So I feel that when you're chasing external validation, are you actually having conversations with people about it, about what it is that you want?
Wow.
You're just looking at a screen and going, he's got his shit together. Why can't I be like that? Right. So, and I looked at it and I was like, you know what? I'm actually really lonely.
Wow.
I'm lonely
Wow.
because every conversation I'm having is surface level. So the podcast, and we was talking about this, free flow, see where it goes. Deep, right? We're going deep. Well, it's not deep, spiritual deep. It's just deep, just asking questions that probably they've not been asked before. And I hear an answer and I'm like, oh, I've not heard that. And I've not read it in a book. I've not listened. Because, you know, you hear the same personal development jargon quite a lot.
Totally.
You know, so you hear all the shelf development, right? You know, all the stuff that's just like, go do this and you got to go, you know, all that. So, but when you hear it from humans, it becomes something like the connection piece, right? I was lonely. I was disconnected, even though we're more connected than ever. And that for me made me realize, hold on a minute. So these people that I want to be like, that I see externally, are just like me. So you know, okay, we're in this together then, right? We're in this together. You do your thing, I do it. But I actually but do you know what that's really good is that when it's like I sort of initiate in a way to go, do you know what? I don't need to publicly put it online, but even when I'm having a conversation, they go, how are you doing, Luke? And I'll be like, I'm really not in a good place, you know. I don't hold back on that anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because I know that people are in that place.
It's real.
Yeah.
It's messy. That's the messy truth.
Yeah, literally. So that for me, you know, I hear it all the time. And one of the insights I found from having conversations with people via our podcast is the biggest insight is they go within, right? So they go,
so good.
I'd start with myself, or I went within. So obviously for me, like the coaching or sort of my angle that I got is like, it's human first coaching, right? Business comes second.
Yeah.
Human first. So human is you, it's your family, it's your partner. Are all those areas healthy? Are all those areas? Because we ain't going to look at your business. No way. We're looking at you first. If you're happy, obviously you're not going to be happy all the time. But, you know, if those things are regulated, I know that your business is going to thrive.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But the reality is everybody does it the other way around.
Totally.
Until it's too late.
Yeah.
They've lost their partner.
Yeah.
They're going through a divorce, or, you know,
disease.
Something, blood pressure, you know, stress related. Like maybe they're in the doctor's office and they go, listen, your blood pressure's too high. It's stressing. They've had a stroke because they've lost a business deal that maybe was going to transform their family's lives. And for the last 10 years, they've been on holiday answering emails all the time and not having any time with their kids. And this is something that, you know, I'm living in the human first coaching right now at 32 years of age. I am living through that. I am not doing the business and then telling that story like, oh, if I could go back in time, I'd change this, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to change anything.
Your story is so important for people to hear. It's so important for people to hear, especially in the coaching industry. I think, especially in the coaching industry.
Oh, I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad. I hope it resonates and lands, because I'm not by any means perfect, right? But I've been through so much.
Yeah.
And it's took me so long.
Yeah.
And numerous conversations with myself.
Yeah.
And with others.
Yeah.
To find myself, right? To be my true self again.
That's it. Wow, Luke. Oh my gosh. What a amazing conversation. And I so appreciate your ability to be open and honest and vulnerable and share, especially as a guy, right? Because as a guy, it's like, I have to hold up this image. I mean, that's in your DNA to be like, I'm the strength, I'm the whatever. And for other men to see other men going, listen, it looked and appeared like it was great, but I had to strip it all away. I had to go through that messy moment.
And I appreciate you having me on, and you know, like Brené Brown sort of says quite a lot. You know, there's so much strength in vulnerability, right? There's courage there. So I think as soon as you can show that, it's not a weakness, but you show that softer side, that side that is human, right? I think that's where transformation happens.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I always end every podcast with 3 questions.
Okay.
Rapid fire.
Okay,
Here we
let's go.
Okay, so first question. What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Well, it goes back to what I said with that coach in that moment. Slow down. You know, so I would add to that, actually, like slow down and look up. Right? Because we slow down, but we always are looking down at our phones, right? So just look up, see what's around you. Find an opportunity. You normally see something like an opportunity there.
I love that. Sometimes I challenge myself when I take my dog for a walk to notice something new that I hadn't noticed in days before my walk, just to test my presence with.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
With what I'm doing, you know.
Yeah,
so I love that. I love look up because literally. And second question is, what is the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
That, I mean, worst piece, I think it's more, I talk about this from mentorships, really, like it's a numbers game.
I've heard that so many times.
Yeah, it's a numbers game.
Makes me giggle.
Get out there, hit the numbers, hit the spreadsheets. You'll probably get 1%, you know, all that kind of stuff. That's burnout, but caused me burnout. I may be in a big corporation different, but for me as sort of like well, I wasn't I'm a solo business owner, but I guess I had a bit of a team. That I couldn't wrap my head around it. If I'm honest, it killed my love for coaching.
Me
by
too.
just trying to send hundreds of messages.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Yeah, it totally takes away the human first aspect of why you do it in the first place.
Yeah,
it's like it becomes a number. Get this many numbers.
Yeah, transactional. I was trying to sell my soul. I was like trying to convince people, like, listen, if people want to work with you, they'll give you the signal, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so last one. If you could go back to one of the darkest moments in your journey where you were just at the bottom, what would you say to that version of yourself now?
I would say, Luke, in any given moment, don't hold back. Just be yourself that you've been for most of your life. What are you proving to others? Just continue to be yourself and let it be. Let that flow where it needs to flow. Because I bottled myself up, right? Which we all do. That's what I did. It's like I put myself in a bottle and I made myself feel small. And when I look back at it, I go, nobody told me to be like that. I just did it myself through trying to avoid the quote unquote banter, which was technically like bullying.
Yeah. Wow. Well, is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience? Maybe somebody that's in the midst of going through those messy moments. Anything else that's on your heart that you want to share?
I think for a lot of people, like we're very negative, right? Or we see the worst in everything that we do. I think amidst chaos, there's opportunity, right? In adversity, there's growth. So we went through a pandemic, and that's where a lot of businesses opened up and thrived and did so well. So, not just trying to go back to that, but just know that where you are right now, you're one step away from completely changing your life. And that happened for me, and it's still, it's not just a click of the fingers it happens, but it can happen. And just know that whatever it is that you do, just be you. And I think sometimes it's quite refreshing to hear that. I know when I heard that, I was like, oh, do you know what? It sounds so simple, but it's a powerful message.
It is a powerful message. Yeah. Well, thank you, Luke. How can people find you? The ones that feel the call and resonate with you. How do they connect with you?
Well, if they want to connect, like say you're listening here, guys, you want to have a conversation. Like say, I always sort of say my inbox is open. I can't say I'll get back straight away, but I'll always get back, easily within 24 hours. LinkedIn, Instagram. I think I've given you my handles as well, didn't I?
You did.
But
I'll put them in the notes. Yep.
Yeah. Just awesome. Luke. If you just put my name, Luke Beastall, in, even on Google, you'll find plenty of stuff on there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Luke. It has been amazing. What a great story. And I know so many people listening are going to resonate and relate, which is the point of the podcast. And thank you for giving us your time and energy today.
Oh, thank you so much for this opportunity, Em. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. All right, everybody. We will see you on the next episode.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to another episode. If this episode resonated in any way, I would love for you to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with somebody who's in the thick of it too. If you want more behind the scenes, or you want tools to support you along your journey of messiness, come hang out with me over on Instagram at @mhollis_thissage. But most importantly, just remember, the mess is part of the magic.